Hey everyone, it's Baka here. Welcome to episode number 7 of the Wide World of Geek. Now, this week I've got a few topics to talk about. A couple of them are newsworthy, noteworthy, one of those two. The third is going to be a little op-ed piece, a little opinion. The first, though, and probably the least important of these, is that Marvel Studios and Fox are reportedly in negotiations over the rights to both Daredevil and the use of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. Now, currently, Fox owns the rights to the movie versions of both the Fantastic Four, Galactus, Silver Surfer, also Daredevil and Elektra, having made those movies. Now, as of October 10th, their current contract, I guess, or their rights are up on the Daredevil franchise. What this means is if they don't do anything for creating a new Daredevil movie by October 10th, they lose the rights. They revert back to Marvel. Well, what's been reported on websites like Comic Book Resources and Newsarama is that Marvel is willing to kind of do a trade. They can keep the rights to Daredevil for a little longer since they have been contemplating doing a Frank Miller-esque type of story with Daredevil in a new movie. But they would like the rights to Galactus and the Silver Surfer back, which makes sense. They are coming out with Guardians of the Galaxy. Thanos was shown in the ending credits to Avengers. Obviously, those movies are going to be very cosmic. And what better type of cosmic villains to throw in there, maybe for Guardians of the Galaxy, than Galactus and the Silver Surfer, even if it's just a mention of them. So it appeared that this whole thing was going to go through, but I just read another article that Fox is not really willing to deal. They're confident that they're going to be able to start some sort of pre-production on a new Daredevil movie by the time October 10th rolls around, and then they get to keep both Daredevil and the Fantastic Four stuff. Whether this happens or not, we're going to have to see. Personally, I wish it would all go back to Marvel. They're so much better at making the comic book movies than Fox is or Sony. See Spider-Man 3, X-Men 3, Daredevil, Elektra. Really bad movies. And from really good franchises. Let's look at Marvel's record. Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, The Avengers, all excellent movies. So I would love to see it all go back to Marvel, but I have no clue if that's actually going to happen. Now the second piece of news is probably the most important thing I'm going to talk about today. It's definitely one of the coolest things that's happened in a while. The Curiosity rover, I guess you could call it a rover, has touched down on Mars. Now the Curiosity rover is about the size of a car. It's roughly 1,000 pounds, and it is decked out with all different types of sensors, lasers, X-ray type machines. It can do things that other rovers really couldn't do. It's got, I think, 6 or 8 wheels for all terrain, and those wheels are on legs, so really there's not much that's going to stop this thing. Now, the Curiosity's mission is to go around and take recordings, readings, images, to give scientists back on Earth a very, very clear idea of what Mars is like, whether it could sustain life, whether it possibly at one time did sustain life, maybe see if there's anything that would illuminate them as to whether, you know, I guess there were little green men or something running around on Mars. But it's a huge step forward. Now, to me, the fact that there's a rover on Mars isn't the big news. We've had rovers on Mars. To me, the big news about this was how it got there. Basically, they stuck it at the they stuck it in a rocket, shot it up into space, and as it made it to Mars without hitting any sort of debris or particles along the way, the lander that held the Curiosity within it shot off and then used jet engines, basically used a vertical landing style to first it entered the atmosphere using a really big cone-shaped heat shield. It gets in there, it pops off the superheated heat shield, then it starts firing basically retro rockets to slow its descent. Now, that change there when it hits those rockets was, I think they said 9 Gs, which I'm not sure as of right now any human could withstand that, at least considering all the Gs that were being pulled to get it there as well. Some sustained Gs can be really harmful to the human body. But it fires these retro rockets, and it gets within a certain distance, and it basically hovers and poops out the rover. And the rover lands safely. It takes some pictures, sends it back to NASA. 14 minutes later, NASA finds out, hey, we did it. We're on Mars. Now we can do the real business. So this is a huge achievement considering all of the budget cuts NASA has gone through and is going through, with the shuttle program being shut down, with the general lack of wonder that has been going on for the last couple of years within the government, where it's just been, we've got to get this done. We've got all these different things to worry about. Let's worry about everything. No, let's try to make things better. Let's try to learn new things. Well, now we're starting to get the opportunity to learn new things. I couldn't be happier about this. Now, I mentioned there was going to be an op-ed piece, a little opinion, editorial type thing. This was something I've been thinking about over the last week, and I mean, it really shouldn't surprise anyone who watches this show or anyone who calls themselves a geek. But I got to wondering, how popular are geeky movies? And for geeky movies, I'm going to consider anything that is science fiction, fantasy, horror, comic book, animated, but animated with an adult audience in mind, at least partially. That's what I'm going to consider really geeky movies. Really just straight up dramas or comedies or romances. Not really going to fall into the realm of geek. Well, I was looking this up, and of the top 10 movies, top 10 grossing movies of all time, 9 of the 10 could be considered geek movies. Now, number 2 on that list is Titanic. And I obviously don't think anyone would consider that really a geek movie. But the rest of those top 10 are pretty geeky movies. I'm including Toy Story 3 in this. Now, movies 11 through 20, you could pretty much consider all of them to be geek movies as well. You might discount Lion King. That's more of a kids animated movie, even though it's got a lot of adult decisions and situations in it. But 18 and 19 of the top 20 grossing movies of all time being geek movies is a real accomplishment. I'm gonna list the top 10 here. Number 1 is Avatar. Number 2 is Titanic. Number 3 is The Avengers. Number 4 is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Number 5 is Transformers Dark of the Moon. 6 is Return of the King. 7 is Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest. 8 is Toy Story 3. 9 is Pirates of the Caribbean On Stranger Tides. And 10 is Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace. Big movies. Number 10 grossed over $1 billion. So these are all billion-dollar movies. I mean, the top 12 are all billion-dollar movies. So there's nothing in there that would try to say these aren't successful movies. These aren't movies that people would like. Obviously, people go to see these movies. More people go to see these movies than go to see any other movie out there. They enjoy these movies. A lot of people see them multiple times. However, when it comes to the establishment of the movies, when it comes to the Academy, these movies are almost always overlooked for any Academy Award that is important. They get the visual effects awards. They get sound awards. They get costuming awards. They get cinematography awards. I can't say never, but almost never do you see Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor or Actress, Best Actress. You don't see the top awards, the ones that really people are there to watch the award shows for. You get all the smaller awards. And because there are so many of these movies that are coming out, because let's face it, the majority of the movies that come out in a year, the ones that are looked forward to, are geek movies. So they have each other as their competition for all these smaller awards. But the Academy doesn't see fit that they would be worthy of being a good movie. Oh, this is not a good movie. It only made 2.78 billion in terms of Avatar, or 1.461 billion in terms of Avengers. It's got a huge following. It's got so many people who love this movie. It's what the public wants, which is why movies are made. The movies are made not to please old men and women who think they know what good movies are. They are meant to please the audience. If the audience likes a movie, the audience is having a good time, it's a good movie. It might not be the best written movie or the best acted movie. It could have its flaws. All movies do. But it's a successful movie. It's a good movie. Why isn't it recognized as that? If you're the #1 movie of the year, be recognized as the #1 movie of the year. Sorry, I got a little heated about that. So that's going to do it for this week. Next week, hopefully there will be some more smaller bits of news that I could put in here, because I have another op-ed piece I could go on and rant about, probably for an hour or so, but let's hope that doesn't happen. This Friday, on the Friday workshop, we're going to be looking at part 2 of 2-point perspective. We're going to be looking at it in... Is it going to be... No, we're going to look at multi-point perspective this week. We're going to look at 3 or more points of perspective. That's a big But there's going to be at least 2 more parts to perspective drawing. Should help you guys out. So join us on Friday. Join us next Tuesday, hopefully, for another Wide World of Geek. I have a second job that I will be working on Monday and Tuesday, so fingers crossed I get enough time to actually make this movie. But until then, I will see you guys later. Bye.